Hello geometry class. Today we are going to do section 9.6 solving right triangle. This is on page number 270. This is page number 270 in student journal Big Idea Math. And before we do that, here again we need to remember the basic formula for trigonometric ratio. That's so ka TOA. We have to apply that here, and let's start with the first question. First question is, first and second, determine which of the two acute angles have given trigonometric ratio. We have to find which one has the given trigonometric ratio. So let's move to very first question here. We need to find which angle. It could be angle G or it could be angle F here, is having ratio 24/25. That we need to find out. All right, so let's start that. So we're going to move to check our acute angles. So there are two acute angles here. It is angle G and angle F. These are two acute angles. So first let's find cosine of angle G. So if I find cosine of angle G, that's going to be, I know for cosine it is ka, adjacent over hypotenuse. So for G, this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse, so that is 7/25. And then it looks like this is not the answer, must be the other one, so I have to find cosine of F. So cosine of F, so let's do that. I'm going to find cosine of F, and that's going to be what? Because again, adjacent over hypotenuse, this is the adjacent and this is the hypotenuse for this angle F, so that's 24/25. It means which one is the correct one? Is this one is the correct one. So angle F is the answer. So we say in this case angle F. All right, so after this, same way we are moving to the next problem. Here we have to find which angle, acute angle. So we need to first identify this is the one of the acute angle and this is E and F, and then we have to find the ratios about 0.38 and which ratio is sine ratio. So let's find sine of E. So if I find sine of E here, sine of angle E, all right, and sine is so opposite for E, this is going to be the opposite, and hypotenuse is this one, so that's going to be, here it is sine of E, that's going to be our √2/√14. all right, so we got this √2/√14, and when I solve it in our calculator I get 0.38. all right, so that's, now this time it's angle E, we already got it. What if I would have started from angle F? We can check that also. So if I find sine of angle F, that's what? For F, opposite, this is the opposite, that's 2√3 over hypotenuse is √14, and when I solve it I get 0.93. so yes, I need this thing, so this means this is the correct answer. So which angle is the value having 0.38 for the sine? That's angle E. That's our answer. All right, so let's move to the next problem. For 3 to 6, what we have to do, we are being told these are an acute angles, and after that also we have to use a calculator for that to approximate the measure of angle H to the nearest tenth of the degree. So here nothing you need to know, it's only about how to use the calculator, and I would be posting a video about how to use the calculator to use inverse trigonometric ratio. Till now I can tell you that you have to press second button in your calculator and then check wherever it is inverse trigonometric ratios are given, then you have to use that button. So if I have to use that, I have to find measurement of angle h. I told you if you have to find this angle, if you're supposed to find this angle, so you have to take the inverse trigonometric, use the inverse trigonometric ratio. Measurement of angle h is equal to, this goes on that time side and it is inverse of sine 0.2. And when you solve it, when you plug it in your calculator to the nearest tenth, when you round your answer, you're going to get 11.5 degrees. I'll be showing you in one of the video how to do it. So if I have to do next question number 4, the same thing. If I need to find how much is h, so I would say measurement of angle h is what, and this will go on that side, that becomes inverse of tan 1. You just plug that in your calculator and you get exact value, that's 45 degrees. Same thing, if I want to find the value for angle h, question number 5, if I need to find how much is h here, for that we can find it out by taking the inverse trigonometric ratio. Measurement of angle h, that's what, let me make it a little darker, yes, measurement of angle h, that's what, that goes on the other side, that becomes, yes, that becomes inverse of cosine 0.33. And when you solve it, your roughly nearest value by plugging in the calculator is 70.7. All right, let me move to the next problem, that is this one. I have to find angle h here. This one, I told you, take the inverse trigonometric ratio, this goes that side and this changes into measurement of angle h is inverse of sine 0.89. Then after that, it's all about knowing how to use the calculator, and that's by nearest tenth is 62.9 degrees. So these all answers are in degrees, keep in mind. So these are the solution for 3 to 6. I hope you get it. Let's move to the next problem, question number 7. 7 is about, here you're supposed to solve the right triangle, all right, and you have to round the decimal answers to the nearest tenth. And solving the right triangle means you have to find all the angles and all the sides. So when I look here, I see two sides are given and one angle, obviously, right? So two sides. So what we are going to do, we are just going to use the Pythagorean theorem first to get our one missing side. I don't know how much is that, and I know Pythagorean's theorem is that hypotenuse square is leg square plus leg square. Just plug it in, and hypotenuse is what? AC square. All right, so that's AC square, so equal to one leg is 6 square, another leg is 12 square. We just plug it in, and when we simplify, we solve it, I'm going to get AC square is what? Square, and add it, square root of 180. And after that, it's roughly equal to AC is, you have to have the value here, it's 16.7, but when you are going to use this side AC, you are supposed to not use the rounded value, you are supposed to use, so better to give the value in radical n. So when you just convert that in radical form, that's 6 root 5. All right, once you get your AC, now our next work is to get our angles. So we need to find angle A. So for angle A, I have to find this thing, and I know in order to find this thing, here up to you, you can use any ratio. So I have to find this thing and that one. So up to you, you can use any ratio, whichever ratio you like. I feel like I would like to use tangent ratio, but here, this, after this solving the angle, you can use any ratio. So I'm just using tangent A. So tangent A is what? I know for tangent it is TOA. So opposite over adjacent for this angle A, this is opposite and this is adjacent, so 12 over 6. All right, and that's actually what? 2. So tangent A is 2 and I have to find A. I need to find this thing is how much? So measurement of angle A is inverse of tangent 2. And when you solve it, and then we are going to find the remaining value for here, our x value, and I can take now cosine ratio. Cosine of 52 is what? Cosine is ka. So adjacent over hypotenuse means this over this. So x over 3. So x over 3 and cross multiply. X is what? In that case our x is 3 cosine 52, and you just plug it in and you solve it, you get 1.8. Alright, so we solved it for x and y, and once we solve it for x and y, we can solve it for angle. This one is so easy because this one and this one are complementary, so measurement of angle n is what? They're complementary. 90 minus 52, that's what? 38 degrees. Okay, so let's move to the next problem. The next problem is this one. Okay, so for the next problem, what we are supposed to do, we have to do the same thing. I have to find the missing angle and side. So this one I don't know, and the angle y. So measurement of angle y, if I have to find, I know these two are complementary, so that's going to be, I can directly find it out. 90 minus 29, and that's going to be what? 61 degrees. We got the angle, missing angles. Now we need to find the sides. I don't know how much is that. If I don't know, I can assign a variable here. So I can assign it to be this can be x and this can be y. And just let's start taking the ratio with respect to this angle. So I can take sine ratio first. So sine of 29 degrees, or let's take tangent ratio. You can take any ratio. I'm taking tangent 29 degrees is what? Tangent TOA, opposite over hypotenuse. All right. Opposite over TOA means opposite over adjacent. So we are going to, for this we are going to take 18 over x, and then you just cross multiply. X is what? 18 over tangent of 29, and when you plug it in your calculator, your answer is going to be roughly equal to 32.5. That's your answer. Now if I'm just finding, we are done finding x, so we need to use some other ratio. So instead of tangent ratio, because I need to find now y, this one I have to use some ratio which includes hypotenuse. This y is hypotenuse, means either I have to use sine or cosine. I'm just going to use the cosine ratio. For that I'll be using cosine of angle. If I have to find cosine of angle here z, I can take it that way. If I'm taking cosine of angle z, and that's going to be what? Ka, adjacent over hypotenuse. In that case, here for z, our adjacent is x and hypotenuse is what? Y. But we just got our adjacent value, and that is 18 over tangent 29, and for that we can easily figure it out. Like what we need to do, we are not going to use this rounded value, we need to use this expression in our value here. So if I do that, cosine of z, and cosine of z is cosine of 29 degrees, that is what? X is 18 over tangent 29, and y I don't know, so y is here. And then you just have to solve it for y. You can simply cross multiply, and y tangent 29 is 18 over cosine of 29 degrees, and y is what? You just simplify 18 of cosine 29 and tangent 29. You can simply find it out, and when you do it, your answer cosine of 29, sorry, it's not writing here, it's 29 here, and when you solve it, you get 37 point, your answer is going to be 37.1. all right, y is 37.1. But there was an easier way. We could have directly taken this, that is kind of little complicated. Let me show you another easier way for that. How could you have done that? Let me show you here. all right, if I use this one, because this is going to become very complicated, so if I just take cosine of y ratio instead of using this whole procedure on right side, if I know the y is 61 degrees, that's, so cosine of y is actually what? That's ka, adjacent over hypotenuse, that's 18 over y. all right, and I have to find y, and angle y measurement I already know that's 61 from here, so I can plug it in. Cosine of 61 degrees is 18 over y, cross multiply, y is 18 over cosine of 61, and then when you solve it, that's going to be 37.1. that's your answer. So that's another shorter way. I did a harder way on the right hand side, so better to use the shorter one. all right, so very last question after this is this one. A boat is pulled in a winch on a dock 12 feet above, so that's 12 feet above, and when the winch is fully extended 25 feet, this is 25 feet, it's extended, the winch is, so what is the angle of elevation from boat to the winch? So what they want us to find, they want us to find this, and when I look at it, it's forming a right triangle. I have to find this angle. If this angle is x, I don't know what it is. I can always think about, I can write some ratio and use the inverse trigonometric ratio for that. When I look at this, I see this one and this one. For this angle, it's going to be opposite and hypotenuse, O and H. Which ratio using O and H? It's sine ratio. So it means I have to use that. Sine of x is what? 12 over 25. What we're supposed to do now after that, we're simply, because I need to find x, just take the inverse ratio, trigonometric ratio. So measurement of angle x is what? It's inverse of sine 12 of 25, and when you solve it, you're going to be roughly equal to 28.7 degrees. all right, so I hope you get it, and we're done from this problem for section 9.6, how to solve a right triangle. All the questions from 1 to 11. Any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.